Thank you for joining me to learn more about mindfulness, research, and best practices. I'm Kimberlee Bethany Bonura. You can learn more about me and my work on the web at drkimberleebonura.com, chairyoga.com, and pelvicyoga.com. You can find me on Facebook at Dr. Kimberlee Bonura and on Twitter at Dr. K. Bonura Yoga. If you want to stay updated for when I post new videos, then like this video and subscribe to my channel. By continuing with the video, you, the viewer, are agreeing to and accepting the terms of the provided waiver of liability.
All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We are set and ready for our next presenter. This is Kimberlee Bethany Bonura, and she's going to be presenting on mindfulness as self-care for professional caregivers. All right, Kimberlee, I'm going to give the floor to you. Thanks so much for joining us and for enlightening us with your professional expertise.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I was telling Rachel and Lourdes a few minutes ago that I love this conference as a fun, inspirational event. I've been presenting the last few years, and I'm excited to be back again. And I appreciate everyone who has taken some time to join me today. As I'm talking, if you've got questions about what I'm talking about, feel free to pop them up in the chat. I'll be watching the chat, and I can answer questions as we go. I've also got some places where I'll ask you all questions, and I'd love it if you interact and chat back with what your thoughts are. And then if there's additional questions at the end, hopefully we'll have some time and space for that as well. So today we're talking about mindfulness as self-care for professional caregivers. And I'd like to start first, again, as I said, I'm going to ask you guys questions as well. What self-care strategies do you already teach and or recommend to your clients and students? What sorts of things do you have in your toolbox that you recommend, teach about, guide your clients to use? And I'd love to see a few attendees pop up responses there in the chat box about what you already use as self-care when you're working with your clients and your students. I know it takes longer to type something in than to, speak it out loud in a face-to-face setting. Okay, personal art making, wonderful. Any other thoughts as to things that people use already for self-care strategies that you teach and recommend? Drawing, writing, walks, physical exercise, visual diaries, working out regularly, prayer, journaling. Some of the chats I think are marked private to presenters, so I'm not sure if everybody can see them. So I'm going to just run through that again as wonderful ideas that have been brought up: personal art making, drawing and writing and walking and physical exercise, visual diaries, working out regularly, prayer and journaling. Those are all great examples of self-care strategies. So let's talk for a moment about what self-care is. And another great one, selecting a word that they use when calm and then use when stressed after the connection is made. Mini breaks, like things on Instagram where I follow visual artists, so looking at art from others. So self-care is a variety of techniques and strategies, things that you use to take care of yourself. And it's become a bit of a buzzword, and so you might see self-care in magazines talking about yoga and massage and exercise and taking a bath with some essential oils and taking time for quiet and meditation. Sometimes you see self-care referred to in magazines a bit tongue-in-cheek as a glass of wine or those sorts of things. So, self-care has become a buzzword, but we're talking about it today as a component of mental health. And when we talk about healthcare providers, mental health providers, caregivers, therapists, Barnett has made the point that self-care is an ethical imperative for psychology and mental health practitioners. Self-care is part of us taking care of ourselves so that we can better care for our clients. But a challenge, a problem, a difficulty we encounter is that most of us, as we went through our professional training, found that graduate programs taught us to care for others and may not have taught us to care for ourselves. 82% of psychology graduate students did not receive any information about self-care in their training programs. 63.4% said that their programs did not offer self-care activities. This is in one survey that was done. Now, this was about a decade ago, but the reason this is about a decade ago is because it reflects that there has not been a great deal of research about self-care training opportunities. And so we see that even though self-care is a buzz and everybody's talking about it, there needs to be more research to understand how we teach professional caregivers about their own self-care. And it's important because there are consequences when there's a lack of self-care. Hope and Vasquez have written that neglecting self-care early can drain the enthusiasm, joy, resilience, and meaning out of a career. It can hurt our ability to practice ethically. It can sink us in discouragement, compassion fatigue, and burnout. And so when we look at the consequences of a lack of self-care, we find that, for instance, one study found that 75% of psychologists acknowledged distress in their prior 3 years, and 36.7% said that the distress they experienced adversely impacted the quality of care to clients. Another study found that almost 60% of mental health clinicians acknowledged working when they were too distressed to be effective. And one study found that almost 30% of psychologists acknowledged suicidal thoughts, and 4% had reported attempted suicide. So when we're not taking care of ourselves, the stress of caring for others can become an additional health burden and a mental health challenge that makes it harder for us to appropriately provide care for our clients and our students and those who come to us for support. So what I really would like all of you to leave today thinking about is that self-care is not an indulgence. It is an essential component of prevention of distress, burnout, and impairment. It should not be considered as something extra or nice to do if you have time, but as an essential part of our professional identities. So self-care becomes a professional ethical obligation, just like continuing education and ongoing training and development. Self-care is part of your ongoing development and training. And so what we're going to spend the rest of this session today talking about is mindfulness as an effective self-care strategy that you can use to support yourself as a professional caregiver. We're going to spend some time doing some mindfulness exercises, and I encourage you to actively do them with me, and we will hopefully leave this session feeling relaxed and focused and cared for as we move on to the rest of the day. So the first thing that we're going to do is some basic deep belly breathing, and this is where I always like to start. It's a great place to start when you're talking about mindfulness because it's always relevant. If you're new to a mindfulness practice, deep belly breathing is a great place to start. If you're an experienced mindfulness practitioner and you've been doing meditation or yoga or martial arts for even decades, deep belly breathing still always feels relevant. It's always a nice reset. So it's great, whatever your level of experience and background with mindfulness strategies. So what I'd like all of you to do, whether you're standing or sitting, is to come into a nice posture. Roll your shoulders back a little bit to open up your chest. Not so much that you're uncomfortable, but enough to create space through your rib cage, space for breathing. If you're sitting, if you're standing, work on having a nice open spine, belly buttons tucked in just a little bit. Take a look at your feet. You want them to be about hip width apart, and so that you've got a nice sense of flow through your body. If you're standing, your hands can be beside you. If you're sitting, your palms can be open on your lap. And if you feel comfortable, close your eyes. And then we're just going to move the hands for a second onto your stomach because they're going to serve as an anchor to help you focus on and be aware of your stomach. And we're going to try to recapture that way that we breathed when we were babies, when we were little people, before we began to think about sucking in our stomachs and being trimmed through the middle, and instead just breathing naturally, so that when you breathe in, your stomach expands and your body relaxes, and you get a nice full breath like the baby's belly that rises in its sleep. And when you exhale, the belly button goes back to the spine, pushing all the air out of your body. We're going to use a very simple mantra, a very simple saying as we breathe to focus the mind so that when we are breathing, we are breathing. So breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. Just think that as you breathe. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. And mindfulness is all about being here in the moment, doing what you're doing. Mindfulness is another word that has exploded in recent years, and you see it all over the place on social media and in magazines, and people give it a whole bunch of different definitions, some complicated, some very hard to decipher. But at its core, what mindfulness means is being present, being where you are. So when you're breathing, instead of letting your head run a million miles away with the to-do list and all the other things you have to do later, focus on breathing. And as soon as you notice that your thoughts have run off and you bring them back, that's mindfulness. It's just being aware, oh, my thoughts have run away. I'm going to bring them back here. One of my favorite meditation teachers is Jack Kornfield. And he always likes to say that our minds are like untrained puppy dogs. And we tell the puppy to pee on the paper, and the puppy runs off and pees in the corner. We bring it back, we put the puppy on the paper, we say, nope, this is where you go potty. It runs off to the corner. And your mind is like that. It's an untrained puppy that runs all over the place. But the point of mindfulness is every time you bring it back, you put your mind on the paper and you say, this is where I am. I'm breathing right now. And then it runs off to the corner and you bring it back. And that constant awareness of bringing it back helps you better train your mind so that you have more control over your thoughts, your energy, the direction of your focus. A couple more times. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. Breathing in, I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I'm breathing out. So this is a great simple meditation practice, and there have been a few studies that find that even just 2 or 3 minutes of meditation each day can help improve focus and productivity. So this deep belly breathing is a very simple thing that you can do before you start your workday, perhaps between clients as a reset to help you terminate the session you just finished and be fresh and prepared to begin again in a new, clear space with your next client. And you can just do it for 1 or 2 minutes. So it's very simple, very scalable, very effective throughout your day. I'd like to spend a little time now talking about one of my favorite meditation strategies, which is called loving kindness meditation. And we're going to actually practice this. And before we do, you have to do a little bit of work with me, a little bit of self-work. You have to identify 5 people. If you've got a pen and paper in front of you, you might want to just jot these down so that you've got them ready as we do the practice. So the first person is you, and you're going to focus on yourself for a little bit in the meditation. Again, we're talking about self-care, and we're thinking about ourselves. Then we're going to pick someone who should be an easy person to be sending love and kindness to. This is a teacher or a mentor you value, someone who has supported your life, helped you become the person that you are, and you're going to be sending them some love and kindness in gratitude. And then you're going to pick a loved one, someone dear and close to your heart, a child, a parent, a pet, a spouse, someone that you care about deeply. And I mentioned a pet because it can be an animal. You don't have to choose actual people for some of these things. And also please note that as you think of your people, it's okay to choose someone who is no longer in your life, either because they have moved on or because they have passed away. You can use either a living or a deceased person. And then the fourth one that we're going to pick is a neutral party. And this is often challenging because you need to find someone in your life for whom your emotional valence is neutral, where you have no positive or negative judgment. And that's hard because we tend to judge pretty quickly. But try to find somebody, the barista who makes your coffee, or the guy who sits next to you on the subway, or a neighbor down the street who you wave at when she's doing her garden, something like that. A neutral party where you don't have any positive or negative interaction. And then the fifth one is a hostile party, someone with whom you have challenge and conflict and active difficulty. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a few minutes of meditation, and we're going to work through all of these individuals. And we're going to start with ourselves. So again, we're coming into a nice, comfortable position. Shoulders are rolled down and back, chest is open, lungs, lots of space. You might place your palms in your lap. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes. Take your energy inside. Focus on each of these individuals as we move through them. And we'll start by just inhaling and exhaling, coming into this moment, being aware of the breath. Inhale and exhale through the nose. And first, we're thinking of ourselves. Think of yourself. Focus your energy at your own heart. And say on your next inhalation and exhalation. So you'll inhale, and then as you exhale, you're going to say, "May I be happy." You're going to inhale and exhale, "May I be healthy and strong." And inhale, exhale, "May I be filled with peace." We're going to do about 3 rounds with each individual just for the sake of time. If you're doing this as a full meditation, you'll do 5 rounds focused on each individual. So again, inhale, "May I be happy." Inhale, "May I be healthy and strong." Inhale, and as you exhale, "May I be filled with peace." And do one more round, inhaling. And as you exhale, "May I be happy." Inhale, "May I be healthy and strong." And inhale. As you exhale, "May I be filled with peace." And now we'll think about that teacher or mentor, that person who has been valuable and supportive and encouraging, and place the vision of them in your mind's eye, in the center of your heart. Take a nice inhalation, and then as you exhale, send them the joy and the happiness. "May you be happy." Inhale, sending to them, "May you be healthy and strong." Inhale, sending to them, "May you be filled with peace." And again, inhaling and sending to that teacher you love, "May you be happy." Inhaling, exhaling, "May you be healthy and strong." Inhaling and exhaling, "May you be filled with peace." And one more time, thinking of your teacher, your mentor, sending them love and kindness. Inhale, "May you be happy." Inhale. As you exhale, "May you be healthy and strong." Inhale. As you exhale, "May you be filled with peace." Now let's move to your loved one. Again, this could be a child, a spouse, a pet, your best friend, a parent, someone you love dearly. And picture them in your mind's eye. Hold them in your heart. Take your inhalation, and as you exhale, send to them, "May you be happy." Inhale. Exhale, "May you be healthy and strong." Inhale. Exhale, "May you be filled with peace." And inhale. And exhale, "May you be happy." Inhale. And exhale, "May you be healthy and strong." Inhale. And exhale, "May you be filled with peace." And one more round for your loved one. Inhale. And exhale, "May you be happy." Inhale. exhale, may you be healthy and strong. Inhale and exhale, may you be filled with peace. Now your neutral party. Think of the neutral party. Envision them, hold them in your heart, and send them this loving kindness. Inhale, and as you exhale, may you be happy. Inhale. As you exhale, may you be healthy and strong. Inhale. Exhale, may you be filled with peace. Inhale, round 2. Exhale, may you be happy. Inhale. And exhale, may you be healthy and strong. Inhale. And exhale, may you be filled with peace. And again, inhale, may you be happy. Inhale. As you exhale, may you be healthy and strong. Inhale. And exhale, may you be filled with peace. Now, the hard one. This is the one that students often find challenging, the hostile party. So think of this individual who has given you difficulty, with whom you have conflict. You're going to envision them and hold them with kindness. You're going to recognize that they have difficulty also, and you're going to send them loving kindness. You're going to inhale. Exhale, may you be happy. Inhale. May you be healthy and strong. Inhale. May you be filled with peace. Sometimes the hostile party is truly hard, and it's hard to send those good wishes. So one way that the loving kindness meditation can be adapted when you're focusing on the hostile party is to give yourself some permission to acknowledge your own frustration and difficulty with this person. So you can try a slightly different version of the mantra when you're focusing on the hostile party. You take your inhalation, and as you exhale, you say, to the best of my ability, I wish that you may be happy. Inhale. To the best of my ability, I wish that you may be healthy and strong. And inhale. And to the best of my ability, I wish that you may be filled with peace. Because what it's about is letting go of the stress for you and the trauma for you. And so it's okay if it's not a full send of happiness at first to that difficult person. You're just doing it to the best of your ability. So one more time, sending out, inhaling, and thinking of that hostile person. To the best of my ability, I wish that you may be happy. To the best of my ability, I wish that you may be healthy and strong. And to the best of my ability, I wish that you may be filled with peace. So, loving kindness meditation. Philosophically, I really enjoy it, but it's also empirically very solid. Yes, Annie, I also love the release aspect in it, and that's part of, I think, the power of loving kindness meditation. There has been some research, and I don't think I have this citation on here. There's been research with children who've been bullied. And when children who have been bullied do loving kindness meditation and focus that hostile party on the child who has bullied them, it actually increases their own sense of self-control, of confidence, of competence. And that's a powerful thing for a child who's been bullied, to increase their sense of self-control, to increase their sense of being competent, because it helps them not see themselves as the victim, but instead to see it as a bad situation, to maybe have compassion for the bully, because we know from other research with bullying that often children who bully have been bullied. And so it gives back personal power. And just imagine for a child or a middle school student who's being bullied to have a meditation practice that gives them back personal power, how transformative that could be to change their whole life. We know the research on bullying that it can have long-term effects into adulthood, but if you can change that story and help that child to get a sense of personal control, they can move into adulthood with a very different mindset. Loving kindness meditation, there's been quite a bit of research on it. One single 10-minute session can improve positive affect and connection. So it works quickly. It also has a long-term impact. After 15 months of practice, researchers were still seeing improvements in positive emotions as people continued to practice loving kindness meditation. It also has a concrete physiological impact. Telomeres are things in our genes that reflect how we're aging. They're sometimes compared to like the little tips at the ends of shoelaces, and as they start to fray, the genes start to fray, and shorter telomeres reflect chronic stress and increased age and a higher mortality risk, and longer telomeres reflect that you're aging more healthfully. And so two people at the same age, if you have shorter telomeres, your mortality risk is higher. And some research has found that genetically, at the gene level, with those telomeres, sorry, I think I pronounced that wrong a second ago, loving kindness meditation actually has a protective effect and reduces the risk of stress on health. It improves your well-being and function and reduces the mortality risk. So that's pretty amazing that at a physiological level, loving kindness meditation can improve your health and well-being. There's also been research with loving kindness meditation and pain receptivity and people with chronic pain, and that long-term meditation practice actually seems to change the neurological functions of the brain with regard to pain, and that experienced meditators show less brain receptivity to pain. People with chronic pain who begin doing meditation show changes in the neural pathways. They show reduced experience and symptoms of pain. And so it can really make a difference in improving your sense of well-being, in improving your health, in improving your sense of personal control over a variety of conditions. So loving kindness meditation is a truly wonderful practice that can be transformative for a lot of reasons. And that's why I love to teach that one. And I encourage you to take it back and try it with your clients and see where they maybe develop more self-control, more of a sense of control over their own lives. One of the things that I like to talk about whenever I present on self-care, especially for professionals who, I know you all are very busy and you probably have very full schedules between your own training and your teaching and your working with clients. And so I like to always spend at least a little bit of time talking about the power of brief interventions. One study found that just 12 minutes of meditation a day lowered levels of inflammatory markers in the blood and reduced stress levels. Just 12 minutes. So you don't have to become a super experienced meditator who does the hour a day or the Vipassana tradition after you do your 10-day silent retreat, which they encourage you to do at least once per year. They encourage you to do an hour of sitting meditation every morning and every evening, and that's lovely and it's beautiful. And there was a time in my life when I did an hour every morning and every evening, but now I'm a working mom with young kids, and that doesn't really happen for me anymore. But that doesn't mean I can't still meditate and take my mindfulness practice seriously. It just means that I have to be more creative and more flexible to fit my self-care in and around my work and my family and the needs of my kids. And I'm sure many of you are in similar boats. And so I like to point out that a 12-minute daily meditation routine reduces stress and lowers levels of inflammatory markers in the blood. 12 minutes a day, just 12 minutes. You can probably find time every single day for 12 minutes. A 30-minute stroll after a meal improves blood glucose levels. So for people, and this study was looking at people with pre-diabetic markers and diabetes, and found that after a meal, going for a 30-minute stroll, not a power walk, not a run, just a stroll with a partner, having a conversation, with a dog, with a kid, just out for a leisurely walk, improved how the body processed the food and managed the blood glucose levels. Another study found that 3 10-minute walks daily reduced blood pressure better than 1 30-minute walk. So a 10-minute walk after each meal or a 10-minute walk before work, on your lunch break, after work, can improve your blood pressure and help you maintain a healthy blood pressure better than a longer walk once a day. And so that's great because you don't have to find a 30-minute block. You can find 3 10-minute walks and still feel good that you're taking care of yourself, that you're managing your own health and wellness and fitting it in to the time that you have. And so since we are talking today about self-care, I want each of you to take a moment or two and think about, why did you come to this session today? Why do you want to improve your self-care? What inspired you to come learn about mindfulness as self-care? What is your why? And I would love to hear from you all in the chat box about, why do you want to improve your self-care? Are you trying to improve your health? Are you trying to improve your professional practice? Is there a goal in particular you're seeking? Are you just hoping to feel a little less frazzled? What is your why? Why do you want to improve your self-care? Increase stress and attentiveness to the present moment. Beautiful reason, Annie, absolutely. Increase ability to give to others, to be a better human for others if I care for myself. Oh, absolutely, Erin. When we feel nourished and replenished, we're much better able to be supportive of others. Helps my clients and all people around me. Absolutely, Sharon, 100%. To be less frazzled as tasks seem to be more energy robbing. So true, Lynn. And you know, we have all these efficiency things around us, but they take energy too. And so then we're running all over the place, multitasking, and we're feeling frazzled. And self-care can help us tune back into what matters. Improve general health and relieve stress, so I'm not irritable when I come home after a long day of work. Absolutely. To help my clients work on mindfulness. Beautiful. Yes, Ida, because we can't model self-care and mindfulness and wellness for our clients if we are not practicing it. The best way to teach them is by being a model ourselves. To prevent another episode of exhaustion, absolutely. And I think, Francine, that prevention is such an important strategy, because once we've had an episode of exhaustion, it's so hard to get back to normal. And so trying to prevent it in the first place is a wonderful approach. Laura, you've been practicing 3 times a day for 20 minutes. Absolutely. I appreciate your thought that it gives you more clarity of thoughts and it makes you more efficient. Absolutely. And, you know, it's one of those things that people are worried, well, where will I find the time? But when you make time to be mindful, when you make time for exercise and self-care and wellness, you find that you're more efficient at other things. Separate but related, there was a great intervention a few years ago in the Dallas school system where they put recess into the elementary schools 4 times a day, I think. And at first all the teachers were very worried. How are we going to have time to get all of our academic content done if we have recess 4 times a day? But what they discovered was that letting the kids go out and play and get fresh air and exercise and run around, they were so much more focused and effective in their classroom. The kids paid better attention. They did their work better, that the teachers got more accomplished, even though technically they had less in-seat time in the academic day. And I think it's kind of counter to our current culture that we're supposed to work, 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 and always be productive, to say no. Sometimes we need to stop. We need to reflect. We need to meditate. We need to exercise. And in the long run, we'll accomplish more by taking care of ourselves. So what I would love for all of you is to take a moment now. Again, we're going to do another reflective activity. And think to yourself, first, what does your ideal self-care look like? Second, what are the obstacles that prevent you from doing those self-care activities? And third, how can you address your obstacles and adjust your expectations to build a self-care plan that fits your life as it is right now? So jot down these questions, and I hope that maybe today, after the wonderful workshops are over, you can actually think about this for a few moments and take 5 or 10 minutes and really think about, I'll give you an example. Perhaps we've talked a lot about mindfulness. Maybe you want to become more deliberate about mindfulness and meditation. So your ideal self-care looks like having a daily engaged meditation practice. And maybe the obstacles are perhaps you are a caretaker for a spouse or an aging parent. Perhaps you have young children, and so you feel pulled in multiple directions in your family. Perhaps you have a very busy work schedule and you're in different places at different times. So you've got driving and you've got clients and you've got prep work and scheduling, and so you're feeling like you just don't have time to do these things. And so thinking about how do you address your obstacles and adjust your expectations to build something that fits what you've got. So maybe it's not buying a package at a yoga studio or a meditation studio. Maybe it's doing what I talked about a little bit ago and doing 12 minutes a day. Perhaps before bed you turn off all your technology and your TV and you just sit quietly and breathe for 12 minutes before you go to sleep. And maybe you fall asleep sometimes a little faster and you don't finish your 12 minutes, but then you're getting rest, and that's a form of self-care. Or maybe your ideal self-care is you want to walk more, to have some exercise, and you could do that in a mindful way. So instead of listening to the radio or scrolling on your phone, you go for a 10-minute walk every day after dinner with your phone turned off. And it's an opportunity to do something small that you can actually fit into your life. And so what I would love for each of you to take away from today is that you set a self-care goal, something concrete, something simple, something brief, and commit to yourself, for the next 6 weeks, I will. Again, I want it to be concrete. You're going to concrete, simple, and brief. You're going to walk for 10 minutes after dinner. You're going to meditate for 12 minutes before bed. You're going to do the loving kindness meditation each morning, one round per person, so that you do it for 5 minutes when you walk up. If you do something simple and brief and concrete, you will be successful, and that success will inspire future success. I don't want you to set something big and ideal that you fall off the wagon in 3 days and then you feel bad, and then that reflects, then that you know, it ripples out that you feel bad that you didn't set it, and then that impacts and you get more exhausted and you feel more overwhelmed and more irritable because you haven't met your goal. Set something that's realistic for your life and that will help you meet a goal you've wanted to achieve. And then you'll have that sense of accomplishment, of, as Laura said, of clarity of thought, and you'll feel that sense of success and wellness because you're taking care of yourself. So I am happy to answer questions. I've got references. I know that's a little hard to see, but I am more than happy to share out references. Feel free to contact me. I hope you can see that. My email is info@drkimberleebonura.com. You can find me on the web at drkimberleebonura.com. I'm on Facebook and Twitter, and I am always happy to answer questions and to offer suggestions. I sometimes get emails from people who've were in a session with me years ago and say, oh, I'm working with a child now. What kind of books do you recommend on meditation for children? And I've got lots of resources that I'm always happy to share. So feel free for follow-up, but also we've got about 6 minutes left before the session is up. So please pop up questions. What else can we talk about mindfulness as self-care to meet your needs and goals from this session today? Thank you, Ida. I appreciate it. And thank you, Annie and Rachel. You know, have you found any meditation apps to be useful? I am not hugely an app person. I don't live on my smartphone. I keep it in my purse, and I only check it a couple times a day. So I'm not a great reflection of modern app use. I do know people, though, who love apps and find some of the meditation apps to be very helpful. I would say look at the reviews. Generally speaking, if you're going to do a meditation app, a paid app, one that you have to buy and have a subscription to, is probably going to be more informed, and it's not just going to be using you to get your advertising information. Okay, Sharon's recommending Insight Timer. Has anybody else used apps that they recommend? Please share with each other, since that's not my strong suit. Any other questions, thoughts, feedback, or anybody want to share what they're going to set as a goal, just to put it out there in writing? Okay, Laura, you said yes, I agree, Laura. It does get easier, I think, as your children get older. My kids are in early elementary school, and certainly it's easier now than it was when they were babies. And it is a challenge as a working mom. I think working moms are pulled in so many different directions. It can be great to integrate your children into your self-care routine. There are some lovely children's resources for doing that. I love the book Moody Cow Meditates. Moody Cow, I'm typing it in case anybody. It's a great book, very, very fun, and it's it's a fun, simple way to introduce mindfulness for kids, and you make a mind jar, which is a fun exercise of like a glass jar and glitter and sprinkles and glycerin, so kids have a great time with it, but it also is a nice analogy for how the mind works. And so my kids and I all have our mind jars, and sometimes if everybody's stressed, I'll go shake their little glass mind jar, and we try to look at it and focus until the glitter all settles down. And so I think integrating children into self-care routine is a great strategy. I think also it's important for parents, working moms, working dads, if they are a primary caregiver, to give themselves a break, just not letting yourself get caught in the guilt and stress of trying to be more, do more, because that certainly is going to diminish your self-care. Francine, thoughts on action-oriented with movement meditation? I love moving meditations, and I think that they are great for so many people, because some people maybe don't feel comfortable sitting still for a long time. If you're working with a client maybe with ADD or ADHD or with anxiety, sitting still can feel physically uncomfortable. And there are great, yoga can be wonderful if you're using the right kind. And whenever somebody tells me I don't like yoga, I say, well, what kind have you tried? Because there's so many different modalities of yoga and so many different teachers. The martial arts can be wonderful, and they use a lot of mindfulness exercises for somebody who's looking for that. Mindful walking can be a beautiful way, and it's a great way to actually get out in nature and be in nature, to notice the grass and the leaves and the flowers and the scents instead of just walking and not paying attention. So I think action-oriented meditation can be a wonderful strategy, especially for people who maybe would have more challenges with being still. Sharon, how do you get over the barrier that I think I don't have time? That's such an important question, because time is the thing I think that's hard for all of us. And I would say one thing is to identify your why. If you're going to be doing posture exercises daily, it's probably so that you can maintain your strength and your posture. And so that's a really important thing, especially for women. As we begin to age, our spine, if we don't take care of it, we begin to slouch and slump, and it makes everything harder. And so a little bit of deliberate exercise to maintain your posture is very important self-care that you will be thanking yourself for when you're 70, 80, 90. So first of all, making it a priority and recognizing that this is really, really important. Second, look for the pockets of time that you've got. Do you have to, maybe you have a commute to work, and because you're never sure what traffic is like, maybe you get to work 5 or 10 minutes early some days. So maybe that's, instead of looking at it that sometimes you get to work early and what do you do with that time, anytime you get to work 5 to 10 minutes early, it's a gift that you can use to take back for your self-care. If you have to stand in line at the grocery store, I'm sure I make people stare, but I have been known to stand in line doing yoga stretches, because that's a place that I can recapture time for myself. The other thing is to make it a commitment, put it on your calendar, do it consistently every single day. You probably never say you don't have time to brush your teeth, right? Because we brush our teeth every day. We brush them in the morning, we brush them at night. When we have something simple and concrete and specific for our care, we do it consistently. So make your posture exercises like brushing your teeth. Put them in at a specific time. Do it every single day without fail. And it'll get you into a good habit of doing it. And once you're doing it consistently, I think you'll stop thinking you don't have the time, because it will be something that you do, if that makes sense. Francine, thank you very much, with gratitude as well, for being here and for sharing your thoughts. I know we are about at time. I'm not sure, Rachel and Lourdes, if we have time for maybe one more question or if we need to close out. So I'll say right now, thank you all so much.
Yes, I was just
grateful to all of you for being here.
One more. Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say you definitely have time for one more if you'd like.
Awesome. Okay. Laura, I love your notes. Prioritize self-care over other things, in other words. Absolutely. Clean less often. Yes, exactly. Just, if it's a health hazard, sure, that's important. But, we don't need to have picture-perfect magazine houses. We need to have hearts and souls we take care of. And I'm grateful to all of you for coming here today and allowing me to be part of your self-care. It's an honor, and thank you for your time. Thank you both. And I'll reiterate one more time, if you think of things later, if you have follow-up questions, please email me, please reach out. I'm always happy to follow up and help and support.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kimberlee. That was a brilliant presentation. As have been the other presentations, it's just been a wonderful collection and immersion this weekend thus far. So really appreciate it. To everybody, Lourdes has up the poll, so please engage in the poll. And then we will move steadily to the next presentation, which precedes lunch, where you'll have an hour break. And hopefully you can follow some of Kimberlee's advisement and take a little walk. Take it as an opportunity or a gift for some stretching, some walking, and some mindfulness practice. Thank you so much. Okay, looks like we're just waiting on one more poll. We could just get the last poll, then we can go ahead and close down the poll session and move to the next session. Thanks so much. Okay, looks like our poll is complete with the number of attendees, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the poll, and I'll see you in the next session. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me to learn more about mindfulness research and best practices. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel to stay updated for new videos. I'll see you next time.